from my fingers to the beta. Raise your hands up to the speakers. You are here to entertain us. From the DJ to the mixer, from my fingers to the fader. Raise your hands up to the speakers, because this is for the ragers. From the DJ to the mixer, from my fingers to the fader. Raise your hands up to the speakers. You are here to entertain us.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the August pitch event for TCNewTech. I'm Jennifer Zunko. I'm the Executive Director of TCNewTech, and we are so happy to be in person, networking once again, and glad that you're here. Our mission at TCNewTech is to build a culture of innovation, economic growth, and opportunity in the Grand Traverse region. And you all are a part of that just by being here. You're making it happen every day. It's your membership, and by showing up, it's the generosity of our sponsors that makes it all possible. Tonight's schedule, we have 3 startups pitching their emerging businesses, and after their 5-minute pitch, there'll be 5 minutes of Q&A. And if you're near a microphone, when you go to ask your questions, if you can jump up and ask it in the microphone, that would be great. Otherwise, we'll make sure that the presenters do repeat your questions, because we are live streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. After the presentations, you'll have 3 minutes to cast your vote via text message. And there are a few flyers on the seats in case you forget, but we will put the number and the code for voting up on the screen after all the pitches are finished. And during the voting, we'll have time for anybody that wants to make any kind of a public service announcement, or you want to let people know that you're looking for work, or you're looking to hire, or you have an event coming up. Please get up and do it in the microphone. Sarah will let you know when that time is. But just be sure to keep it to 30 seconds, because we have a real limited amount of time. And then after tonight's program, we'll have time to talk once again to one another's. Now, I want to introduce you to our MC for tonight's program, Sarah Hunt. She is an account executive with our main sponsor, Michigan Broadband Service. She's a founding member of TCNewTech, so any of you that have been around for a while, I'm sure you've talked to Sarah. And she's also in charge of business development for our organization. So if you're interested in sponsoring one of our events, be sure to get a hold of Sarah. And with that, I'm going to let Sarah take it over.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Hi. Nice to see some familiar faces and some new ones. So that being said, I apologize, she had already clicked it, give you the opportunity to join our membership. We are a nonprofit powered by the generous support of our community. As Jen had said, if you were interested in sponsorship, you can join us, but we also have more options as a member too. So feel free to scan that QR code and join us. And next, I'd like to introduce our pitch sponsor. Forefront has been very generous in donating for our pitch prize for about 3 pitches now this year, so we're really excited about that. And so tonight we have our first pitch, Adam Rockford. Adam, I apologize. There's your music. So come on up and join us and we'll have your presentation here. Thank you.
Cool. Hello. It's good to be back here. I think I had prom or homecoming here once, but I'm Adam Rochford. 10 years forward, didn't think I'd be back here. So I'm taking a different approach here with my pitch because I get a lot of feedback I get is, Adam, this is never going to work. Your business looks really funny. And it almost seems like you have two businesses here. And that's largely true. And the reason is well, consider this. Consider you're considering two cars. One and not the other is exactly the same, and they're the same price. But the second one can also fly. Which one are you going to choose? So in this example, our point of sale add-on hardware is the car, and the road or driving is the cost that it costs to make coins for all the coins that we lose in the various places. They have not gone away, and they probably won't until cash goes away. Flying. Flying is eliminating credit card fraud. It is on the rise, and it will continue to be until it's solved. Credit cards started as credit, but largely aren't anymore. And I'll get into the reason why this fraud keeps going up. But first, whose problem is this? Well, taxpayers and consumers. Taxpayers pay to make the coins that cost the mint an extraordinary amount, and they also lose it when they lose the value of it, when they lose the coins that have to be replaced in the system. In terms of fraud, consumers pay for it. You're told you're not, but that cost gets factored into your groceries and everything that you buy because somebody has to pay for it. So you do. This is like a very common product framework. You can typically choose any two of these. For payments, there's no such thing as a better payment than another, right? It either works or it doesn't, right? So I've changed it to kind of say, all right, what is good? Good is it has to always work. Cheap is it has to be secure to eliminate fraud, and easy. Easy is very important. That's Staples, that is easy button. They're not paying me to say that. But, solutions have to do all of these. And if you can do it effectively, I think you have something. So why it hasn't been solved? Anyone in security will tell you that there's multi-factor authentication are these three things. Any two is considered secure for most purposes. Now, the key element that pretty much everyone else in the industry has missed is it has to be simpler. Have you ever heard of chip and pin? In Europe, you have to have a pin. In the United States, it's just chip because consumers didn't want to enter a pin. It's more work, and when they're not liable for fraud, you're going to use your other card. So it didn't work. The lost revenue from asking for a pin wasn't worth it. And so they backed away, and it became just as secure as the magnetic strip that was before it. Also, you can forget the pin, so it's not reliable. So if you look at sort of what has been tried in the industry, Apple, Google, the big tech companies, they largely pioneered this, right? There's an old saying that it's when you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And phones were kind of that hammer in this situation, but they're not necessarily easier. It takes just as much effort to pull out your phone. So, and our research initially says that. And even furthermore, retailers are all now jumping on board. What's the solution? Well, let's look at the easiest forms of authentication and start there. Something you are. When you approach our hardware, it greets you by name, and all you have to do to make the transaction work is enter your PIN, or if you forget it, you can just tap the answer to a question that will be obvious to you, that me and my nerd friends will figure out. And largely, our initial research says that this is effective. So I encourage you all, it would greatly help us to take our survey. There's a couple other questions on there. Now, what's the coin side of the business? Everyone's familiar with Coinstar, and we've just taken that hardware, made it smaller, cheaper, and put it right at the point of sale.
Adam, we're at the 5-minute mark, so you can continue with your presentation and take Q&A after that, if you'd like. Or take
Sure. So in terms of, I don't know what the future of payments is. I think it's easier. People who've taken my survey seem to think it's easier to just leave your phone in your wallet in your pocket. But if it's not, that's okay. And we can be wrong because our hardware is cheap. So this is what the ROI of the hardware looks like and what we have to do to break even on it. Basically, because it's so cheap and the margins are so high, we don't have to get that much volume. Now imagine what a fast food restaurant lets out of the system. It's huge. Every day, $75 more coins leave a fast food restaurant than come in, and those get lost. If that's not convincing enough, this is what the average Coinstar machine. So largely, we don't think there's a whole lot of risk by using coins to solve and get our hardware out there for free to innovate on payments. We have a lot of work to do, but we can't do it alone. Anyone who sort of is on board with our mission and can help us in any way, we hope to build a meritocracy and reward those who add value. And that's largely what the culture that my team and I hope to build. But it's a big task ahead, and we can't do it alone. So feel free to go to our website and reach out if you can help us. And thank you very much.
We have a few minutes for questions. At this time, you got 3.5 minutes.
I can repeat it. It's fine.
So normal credit cards charge merchant fees to the processor. What's the business model there?
Yeah. So we're going to be doing some testing on that. But right now, any merchant that gets involved with us, we're willing to offer 0% for life. Oh, the question was, what is our merchant fee charge? And we also give a kickback on coins as well. So Amazon One is doing that, and if you look at the YouTube videos, they're disgusting. People do not want it, and because they're weirded out by it, we just don't think we need it. I do have a fingerprint sensor on our prototype, and we might be testing it, but if you're already giving your face to social media and your payment data to Visa, now we're not asking to give anything about your privacy because that's at our core values.
It looks very cool, but one thing you kind of hinted at up front is that you have two things going on. And who would you say is your primary customer, and what is their one problem?
Everyone's our customer who pays for anything under $20 in person. In terms of our number one customer, I can tell you that our demographics, there's the old lady with the coin purse who always pays in exact change. That's a small segment. The majority of people who are paying in cash, which is about 30% of transactions under $20 still, are people who are paid in cash. So that's the answer to your point. But I do think they're actual distinct markets, and we're learning more and more about them frequently.
So you didn't necessarily ask for it, but I'll just suggest it
Sure.
because you kind of outlined the dilemma that you face. I would encourage you to not try to be all things to all people and not try to serve two different masters.
Sure.
And just be the companies that get traction are when it's very clear, if you have this problem, we solve this problem for you. And, just decide whether it's fast food or
100%.
retail or whatever.
100%. And we are going to market with the coin focus right now, but we know if we don't have the upside of payments that merchants aren't willing to get involved because it's not a big enough problem from them, the coins, but the credit card fees are. And so we're focusing on coins, and I just had a call, we're fitting a model that will actually listen for coins, because during my V1 prototype.
But if you just said that they don't see that as the big problem and they see this as the big problem,
merchants, yes.
Focus on the big problem. to talk later.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Time for one more.
Additionally, like when I showed the $75 on there as what's leaving, we're initially going to market because we haven't built the AI yet. We're still working on that. But basically, if we can reverse that trend and get that to zero, or even hopefully someday negative rather than $75, how we're doing that initially is we're listening for coins and playing an audio alert to get people's attention. And that was a takeaway from our V1 prototype.
Thank you. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Adam. And so everybody knows, if you have other questions, we're going to have Adam and the other presenters line up here in the front so you can connect with them easier after the programming. Next, we have a video from our sponsor, Michigan's Creative Coast. It will play.
When your son is 3 and within a time of a year you get like almost a month worth of hours back with him physically, it really kind of lands the fact of, you know, balance and time with family is important. And you don't realize what you sacrifice when you do take on a location with the commute to go places.
Go for it. Yeah.
Okay, what is it again? Just name?
Name and occupation. Yeah.
Okay. My name is Sarah Diaz-Pinel, and I am VP of Sales and Business Development at a startup in LA.
My name is Kyle Pinnell, and I own my own design consultant firm called Pen & Cat.
So we spent most of our career in California, and we loved it. It's such a great place, like, to grow up professionally in our career, but decided we love Michigan. We love Traverse City, that we can actually afford a house here and actually have a backyard. And we grew up like riding our bikes around the neighborhood. Like, I would just leave my house and not come home for hours. Can't do that in LA. And so we wanted our kids to have that opportunity to kind of, you know, small community feel, and just, you know, have a house that they can live in. And yeah, to me, that was the most important part.
For me, what's super underrated in Grand Traverse is access. When I say access, I mean access to the airport, access to water, access to parks and trails and sunset vantage points. There's so much here, and it's all accessible. We spoke earlier about, you know, distance of car rides and commuting, and what's really almost an ongoing nice surprise is just how close things are in regards to weekday and weekend adventures.
That's an awesome answer. I couldn't agree more.
Next up, we have Megan Murtaugh Graber. I apologize. Coming up to present her. You have 5 minutes for presentation and 5 minutes for questions.
Hello, my name's Meg. I was locally born and raised here in Traverse City, and I'm back. After getting my master's in social work and my master's in education and youth development leadership, I am a clinical mental health therapist, and I work with children and families who have experienced chronic stress, trauma, and relational harm. And I'm here to present to you about Caravan. I came here to explain the problem that we're facing here in our community with statistics. And I'm going to shift off of that because I have some local stories I'd really like to share that embody the need and the problem that the statistics can't speak themselves. Since moving back here, I have been already connecting with families needing support in mental health services. And some of the stories that I'm hearing are, they're hard. They're extremely challenging. And for example, I have stories of young people and families who have actively sought mental health support for their child while grieving the loss of a peer due to the death by suicide, which happened recently here in our community. When this family sought services, they were asked a question, and that question was, are you yourself actively suicidal? And the child answered no. And the response was, well, I'm sorry, we don't have services for you at this time. There are other problems that take precedence. We'll let you know when there's services available. And I'd like to pause there because that at this time, and not just here, but nationally, after moving back from the Twin Cities in Minnesota, at this time means a 3 to 6 month wait list to get help. So my question is, who are we as a community if we can't be attuned to the health and well-being of our children and help them when they need it? I know you're here to invest in the embetterment and the health of our community and the communities around us. And I see this as an opportunity and our responsibility to be able to invest in the resilience to help our families and children heal and to empower the communities that are surrounding us and next door. Because right now, from the stories I'm hearing, next door, there's an adult that's suffering silently. There's parents actively seeking support that are told that they have to continue suffering silently because there's not help. And consequentially, we have children learning that they have to suffer silently because there isn't help available to them. That's unacceptable. And to me, it's unethical. And so my solution here that I'm presenting on tonight is the Caravan. I'm going to skip through some slides. I had quite a bit of statistics on the study called Adverse Childhood Experiences. It's the ACEs study, and please come up to me with any questions. It's a huge study that's making an incredible impact on our healthcare system in showcasing the impact of adverse childhood experiences when children experience any of these things between the ages of 0 to 17, what can happen to the longevity of their life and their health long term. This is a Michigan graph, and we have almost 20% of our Michigan residents that have experienced 4 or more of these adverse childhood experiences. This is just an example of clinical depression that's diagnosed within adults. Those with 4 or more adverse childhood experiences are rated at 44% of clinical depression of experiencing that. So this is a huge problem. And as you see through the ACE study, they've developed this amazing pyramid to help visualize the ramifications of early childhood stress and trauma and how it can cause early death. These are recent statistics from the New York Times. A header, why are young Americans killing themselves?
We're out of time now, so would you want to continue?
Yes, please. So Caravan is my concept. It's a mobile mental health platform in a bus that I can bring and partner with schools, farms, and parks to bring services to where families and individuals need them. This is my the mission is to learn and heal is to be with. What the caravan does is I partner with others within the community to create a platform that's congruent to support the health and well-being of our families. I work with multiple modalities, including culinary, play therapy, animals, going through nature with nature-based therapeutics, music therapy. My work here is to provide a language to what is non-verbally experienced and embodied, so I can help those make sense of those experiences that are hard and scary and help people heal. And these are other examples of all the things that Caravan does to connect with the community. Here's my bus. It is in my parking lot right now at my house, and I'm renovating it currently to turn into a mobile play therapy office. And so what I'm doing now is seeking support and investment. I'm a for-profit business. I provide services via psychotherapy, direct clinical services, community outreach, and education and training educators and other practitioners within the area. These are the modalities or the methods that I use and implement within my work to help find a language for healing and expression. And this is me here asking for you to help me turn this into what you see there with the dog. These are the different things funding will go towards: the bus, the renovation, websites, all the way down to paying it forward if you would like to invest in the healing of others within our community, of paying forward for those that are impacted by socioeconomical or any barrier to gaining service provision. And this is my information. So I'm here for questions. Yes.
Are you looking to get insurance payments? Qualifying for insurance?
I am. At the moment, I'm working with private pay, sliding scale, and contract based. But my hope and my value is to be able to accept insurances eventually. Yes. Yeah. Great question. Sorry, the question was if I accept insurance for services. Yes.
So I follow the statistics quite heavily on, especially with the social media and how that impact. And I like, I think, of course, the value is that you basically show people the real world. Being a father, I have a lot of concerns and around that as well. But how, the problem keeps growing, and we could, if we had 100 caravans, like how much of an impact would that make? And then how do you plan to like transition out? Because you can't be everywhere at once. Do you have like a...
Well, if this can take and successfully become a mobile platform that other practitioners can use, thank you for the question. So how can this grow and service the need that when the healthcare is flooded and inundated with need, right? My hope is knowing that it's not just sustainable through me, that this can become a mobile platform for other practitioners to use, that I'll be able to grow and have multiple Megs going out and doing this work in different counties and different areas throughout rural Michigan.
And as a follow-up to that, what happens when you leave? Do you have like a, when you leave, am I sad again? If I'm like a 12-year-old girl and with all the pressures and
totally
school.
Goodbyes are so hard. They're so hard. And that's part of my work, right? Is to not repeat harmful goodbyes, but to help build skills and resiliency and adaptive coping methods to be able to find and build connection with others outside of me, knowing that I'm a little teeny part of the solution. The parents and the caregivers, I only get to work with these kids and families an hour a week mainly, and the parents and caregivers they're the key to their child's healing. I can help guide it. Yeah.
Got time for one more.
One more? Yes.
You said you went through investment and it's a for-profit business, are you looking for like equity investment or donations? Are you trying to get like investment from an equity standpoint, or just like what kind of investment, I guess is the question.
I guess as of now, donations is what I'm seeking towards being able to provide services to those that aren't able to access mental health and equity. That's a great question. And it's actually out of my league of business, I will admit. So,
Well, that's all we have for today.
awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just a reminder, we'll have Megan wait up here. And we'll invite you to, further your questions with her on a one-to-one basis there. We have Carrie coming up for a quick update on 20 Fathoms.
Hi, everyone. I'm the marketing director at 20 Fathoms, and I want to give you a quick update today about a new project that we're working on with some of our partners, including TCNewTech, as well as Northern Michigan Angels and Newton's Road. So it's next May. So for those of you who are planners like me, think ahead to next May. It's called Northern Michigan Startup Week. It's going to be a full week of entrepreneurship and activities around Northern Michigan. And there's 3 main tracks available. The first one is for high school students. It's an invention competition for high school students throughout the Grand Traverse region. They will next winter be, anybody interested in STEM and entrepreneurship will get together with a group with their teacher and work on an invention project throughout the course of the semester. At the end of it, they'll pitch here at the City Opera House for prizes. And then the college startup competition is for Northwestern Michigan college students, very similar to how the high school one will work. They're going to be joining a class in the winter and we'll work on a group to put together a startup. And then we're wrapping it all up with the Techstars Startup Weekend, which will be really fun. It's a whole weekend of entrepreneurship and building together startups. So for now, just keep it in mind, put it on your calendar and sign up on our website to learn more about it. And as more event details come out, we will let you know. Thanks, everyone.
Now we have Kevin. Thank you, Dr. Kevin Hagorn.
Hello. Well, good to be back. Last time I pitched here was in 2019. A lot happened since then. I've been pitching the same thing though for 10 years, but now it'll finally make sense, thankfully, thanks to COVID. So do you remember how we couldn't do at-home RNA testing? And do you remember how when they were shipping out all the vaccines, they needed to be stored at -80? So RNA is not a very stable molecule. It's very fragile. But the problems associated with RNA shipping and storage are very important for the next generation of therapeutics. There are, now I can actually go a little bit further now that I don't have to now explain what RNA is. I can go into more detail. So there's 20,000 genes associated with proteins. There's about 2,000 associated with disease states. We have drugs for about 500 of those. There's 870,000 regulatory RNA. There's vastly more RNA targets. And at some point, it's almost certain that RNA therapeutics will overtake traditional small molecule drugs. Not only that, but in diagnostic testing, actually RNA sequencing gives 20 times more information than DNA sequencing. This is because every cell in your body is running a different program, and even throughout the day, your transcriptome, the RNA equivalent of the genome, changes depending on what you're doing. If you just ate some food, then your transcriptome changes because now you're digesting food, and so the running programs change in those cells. So what we developed was a based on a number of simulations that we did and also research that was done in 2003, a carbon composition which binds and stabilizes RNA for shipping and storage. So this is our product. We sell kits to university labs. We did about 12,000 in sales last month. Each of these kits costs $1,000. And it's good for 250 reactions, and they cost us about $65 to make. There's a project in the state of Michigan. We're looking for sort of home run initial like applications. One of the good things that we were working on last year, we worked on with Eurofins on a at-home kidney transplant rejection test from urine. Since we were doing so well with wastewater, we started sort of looking in that space. And the state of Michigan has a $50 million project for surveying wastewater to determine what variants of COVID are going through the population. And currently at Central Michigan University, they've been testing our product there, and we're at least 10 times better with equal volumes. And it looks like, so we use calcium chloride to bind the RNA. Normally with the other kits, you use a bunch of other harsh chemicals, but calcium chloride, that's pretty much the salt that you like road salt. So with a reagent that simple, you can infinitely scale it. And even if we have 10 times better yield with equal volumes, you could do much larger volumes, and so eventually get to much higher sensitivities. And so that's our first initial application. It looks like hopefully home run application for the product. And then we're looking at helping with synthetic RNA manufacturing for vaccines or the next generation of drugs that come after them. I'm Dr. Kevin Hagedorn. I'm a materials scientist. I do the manufacturing. My co-founder is Rashab Kalla. He's a molecular biologist. He actually works in Rich Miller's lab. So interesting fact I'll give here. So aging is actually predicted to be an RNA-based problem. So there's two labs, big aging labs. One is at Harvard, David Sinclair's lab. He wrote a book last year, Why We Age and Why We Don't Have to. And Rich Miller's lab at the University of Michigan. The current theory is that, so every cell in your body runs an RNA program. You all have the same DNA in every single cell, but each cell runs a different RNA program. And the theory is that over time, they basically lose the information specific to what program that cell should be running. So skin cells are initially 100% acting like skin cells, but over time, they act maybe 5% like liver cells. They lose, because they all have the same DNA, they can hypothetically run any program. They lose specificity for which program they're supposed to be running. And so even aging itself is potentially an RNA-based problem. Also our largest customer at U of M, so that's good. So it took us, I think I've given this pitch last time I was here. I'm gonna go slightly over. Last time that I was here, I had just pitched at Detroit Demo Day and lost to a hair salon, nail salon, and an urban farming collective. And then I came up here and gave another incomprehensible presentation. And somehow you guys picked me to win. I don't know how. I think this year my girlfriend's voting for the caravan. But we partnered with, now that people know what we're doing, we partnered with Y Combinator, and we have a crowdfunding campaign, which this link will take you to. We're raising $1 million. We're at about 523,000 of a $1 million raise, focusing on specifically the wastewater testing. And this is one of the few projects where money is coming out of Ann Arbor. Normally, technology starts up there and then all the money flows to Ann Arbor. Well, the wastewater money is distributed based on geography. So basically, the more area there is around you, the more money you got. So therefore, it makes more sense for us to work with the groups at CMU and up here in Traverse City. So if that's particularly meaningful to you, connect with me. We can talk it over. Thank you very much. Oh, no problem. Somebody's got it. We had about 12,000 in revenue.
what's the money for? Is it research, is it marketing?
Right now, it's marketing. So we had a minimum viable product, actually not long after I presented here last time. But so the product primarily works by getting really pure RNA out of solution. And the reason why that's important for transport and storage is because basically everything in the environment is hostile to RNA because bacteria, because pretty much every living organism doesn't like to be infected by viruses. Makes sense. And so we all secrete this enzyme on the surface of our skin called RNase, which is pretty much indestructible. And it's there because it's a first line of defense against stray RNA coming in contact with you. And so it turns out if we dig in, sort of our first pitch was we get really pure RNA for university sample prep for R&D. But that's not always critical, but we can leverage it for these other applications. So it took us a little bit longer to find sort of these other niches where we have a larger value proposition. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I answered your question, but yeah, marketing, and frankly more R&D. Like we raised about 400,000 between 2015 and 2020, and frankly, it was not nearly enough to launch a product like this. So now $1 million raise, and it looks like we'll hit it in order to properly market the product and finish our manufacturing build out and that sort of stuff. So, yep.
It would seem that your line of work is eligible for government funding.
Yeah, we've actually won 2 National Science Foundation awards. We've had about 700,000 in federal awards. We're applying for another federal award with Central Michigan University. So we were trying to pitch when when COVID started, but we had some issues because I actually kind of ran out of money early. Again, I raised 400,000 in 5 years. We were more or less out of money when COVID started. So a lot of our reviews right when COVID hit were, well, you're not really an operating company. And so, but that issue's been resolved. We raised quite a bit with Y Combinator. So
I get the wastewater treatment model, but I've heard it before. So I live in Colorado most of the time.
Yep.
So I've heard it being done at universities.
this isn't treatment. It's population screening, right? So we just pull the RNA out of a large volume of wastewater and see if anybody sneezed in the sink and it was COVID positive.
Right. So they're doing that as well. So who else is doing it, and what technologies are they using? What makes you different?
So this is so in order to normally to bind RNA, you take a lot of caustic chemicals. So currently there is an established process for this, which is recommended by the CDC, and that's the process that our process is being compared to. And so normally, right now it's a 5-day. You add a bunch of salt. The salt precipitates down everything in the sample, and they run it through this thing called. I don't have enough time. My thing is going off. Why don't I? Yeah. How about I answer your question afterwards?
All right, no problem. Got the clicker. You tried to do that. 10 years. Thank you, Kevin, for joining us again. During our voting, we just want to remind you that we have a 30-second limited announcement. If you're wanting to collaborate and connect with our in-house audience and also those that are streaming, feel free to take the mic. And then afterwards, we'll have you line up with the presenters too to collaborate with everybody here. Now we have Jennifer, and Jennifer is going to fill you in on our past presenters.
Yes. So we like to keep track of our pitch presenters, and that's why we've had a couple back tonight because things are always evolving, and they're further down the continuum. One of our past pitch presenters 2 years ago was Loop Software, and they help develop quality assured services for companies. They won the prize 2 years ago, $500. But what really stood out to him was the networking value and the opportunities that he came up with after the event and the people that he met out having drinks later in the social area. And they're based in Traverse City. During the COVID lockdown, they still were able to prosper. And now they are recruiting local talent. They're looking for people with critical and analytical thinking skills. So they launched 2 years ago in Ben's girlfriend's spare bedroom. And now they actually have space on Woodmere Avenue. They have 16 employees, and they're getting ready to for expansion. So anyone that's interested, Ben said, please stop by his company. He's hiring. And if you're just curious about his company, stop in. The door's always open. And so he's doing very well, and we love to see that. Another one that's doing well is My Swim Pro. The founder of that is Faraz Kazabadi, and he pitched in 2017. My Swim Pro is an app for swimmers. Since 2017, he's done over $3 million in revenue. He's raised close to $1 million in funding, and now he has 1.5 million downloads and a global audience of over 750,000 on social media. So everyone from beginners to elite swimmers are using the My Swim Pro app. In fact, Eamon Kelsey is one of their ambassadors, and he competed this week in the Tokyo Olympics. So they are currently raising their third round of open public offerings, and they are on a website called WeFunder as well. And you can invest in their company with as little as $100. And if you follow him on social media, he's really doing a great job of marketing the product. Now, a third person that just pitched during COVID, her name is Britta Carlson, and her company's MedPro Shares. She's a single mom. She lives in Marquette, Michigan, up in the Upper Peninsula. And she pitched during the pandemic. And after her presentation, an organization out of Chicago called Far Shore and another company called Dash Fire, they contacted her and they were interested in partnering with her. And both those companies exchange investment in startups for an accelerator type program. And they help founders access venture capitalists, build out an executive team, and they help with marketing, tech, and funding. So she's still seeking her first seed funding of $300,000, but she's really encouraged by the partnerships that she's formed since she pitched at TCNewTech. So if you know of any other startups or innovators, people with new ideas that would like to pitch, make sure you send them their way, because we're making things happen here.
Click it. Well, this is the fun time when you get to vote for your favorite presenter. If you want to text to this number here, there should be AA for coin drop deposit, Caravans BB, and Kevin is CC with Life Magnetics. Yes. And during the voting time, if anybody has any public announcements, feel free to join us. We just have to fix the voting system real quick here, and then you'll have the number again. Great. Well, if you want to take the mic, we'll turn it over to you.
Hello. Perfect. Everybody just actually, so I run Loop Software and Testing Services, we all just heard about, and I'd like you guys to know it's not my girlfriend's guest room. I got married 2 weeks ago, so technically it was my future wife's guest room. Thank you. And yeah, we are out of the guest room, so that's a win. So we hire folks oftentimes who don't have QA backgrounds. So anybody that knows people who are interested in career changes, people who seem to be able to solve puzzles, have critical thinking and analytical abilities. We really love meeting anybody and everybody. We also have 2 awesome women who work for the company who started a women in tech group in Traverse City. So I would encourage anybody who wants to get involved with that group. There's tons of people who work remote in Traverse who are looking to network with folks and get to know folks. So twofold: one, job opportunities across sales and marketing, but mostly about tech. And we're couldn't be more pumped about our direction. And then 2 is women in the area who want to get to know women in tech. And then there's probably going to be a therapy group for my now wife about me starting a company in her house. So if you want to join that too. Thank you guys all. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Well,
Hi, I'm Matt Bullock. I'm the president of TentCraft. So we are about 80 people in Traverse City. We are a manufacturer of outdoor advertising supplies pre-COVID. With COVID, we were producing most of medical supplies for drive-through testing, screening, quarantine shelters. But we have been growing. We're hiring. We've got 2 marketing positions open. We have a client services position open. We have 1 sales position open. We hope to hire more. But we believe that more business will continue to grow. That's why we will spin off and start new startup initiatives, which we're having a big push towards e-commerce and then we're entering the swimming pool industry. And then I also believe that over the next few years, other sponsors will come. So we're going to continue to grow, and not just people in this room. If you have a son or a daughter or a cousin or a friend, potentially someone that is working remote in Traverse City that would like to work in
I want to very quickly follow up to what Ben said about the Women in Tech event. If anybody is interested in that, if you identify as a woman and you work in tech in Traverse City, you can go to the 20 Fathoms website in our event page, and we have the information for the next meetup on there. It is at the filling station on August 19th. So I hope to see you there.
thank you, Carrie. All right, before we announce our winners, we would like to say a thank you to our supporting sponsors. Susan has been supporting our organization for a very long time. Please reach out to her about her services. She's very helpful. And we'd like to also thank the SCORE mentors. The SCORE mentors do more than help us financially. They help us with mentoring, help our presenters formulate their overall presentation. So we're really thankful for their involvement. Northern Michigan Angels, I know there's a few in the crowd. Some serve on our board. We're really appreciative of their involvement in our organization and helping our presenters as well. And Lisa, I took her spot tonight. It's a hard act to follow. So Lisa is your go-to person for HR needs. She's also a founding member of TCNewTech. I've got to know her over the last 5 years and really thankful for everything she's helped me. And she could definitely help you with all your HR needs. And this is me. I will help you connect faster. If you want to reach out to me, you can call me at that number right there, and we will get you on our fiber network today.
And did we mention that we have a job board? So we also, that's sponsored by TrueJob. And if you're looking for a job or if you're looking for employees, head over to our website and visit the job board. And this is a list of our in-kind sponsors. AK Productions is Josh. He's back there on the camera, and we appreciate his help every month. And that's the link to the job board. And now we will let you know who is the winner. The suspense is building. And it looks like Megan with Caravan. Please come up to the stage, Megan.
we go. We're going to get a picture of you and Jennifer holding the check, if you don't mind. Ian missed his cue. Yeah. Do you want to get this?
Okay. Yeah, hold on.
Thanks for the technical difficulty. Here you go. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Congratulations.
You can take that for now. We'll send you a real one.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Go take a
everyone.
selfie out front.
All right. Well, so thank you to our presenters. Thank you to the audience. We thank our main sponsor, Michigan Broadband Service. And we thank our board members. There's a few here tonight. Our president is Kelly Ignis. And what other board members do we have in the room here? But if you stand up, is Ben Marshall here? Oh, he's out front. So he's helping with the membership table. If anybody is interested in membership, talk to Ben out there. And Dan is who you met with the name tag on when you first came in this evening. So be sure to introduce yourselves and ask them any questions, or any one of us afterwards. So that is it. We'll see you all in September. Thank you.